every time they knock me down. Well, I rise to my feet. Every time I take a bullet, they find a medic and patch me up real neat. You only have to run the numbers to know sooner or later everybody's gotta go. Bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. There won't be anybody waiting to rush me to safety. I'm gonna let the long night take me. Bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. Every bender needs a blackout. Every gauge deserves a top line. Every story needs a child who believes the brave hero's gonna be just fine. You only have to check the papers to see some of these children end up just like me. Bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. I'm gonna make a gigantic mess, but it'll mean something important, I guess. Bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. Somewhere beyond imagination, somewhere beneath the final delta, washed up on the banks of a river at the height of a storm. Everybody's taking shelter. I'm gonna dive right in. You know I can't swim. Bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. Oh, I'm gonna bleed out. There's gonna be a big spot where I once lay, and there won't even be a spot one day. Bleed out. Oh, I'm gonna bleed out. There was a chance we'd make it through this. It's safe to say that we missed it. And I won't ever lose hope, and I haven't lost hope. I'm just being realistic. I will go down swinging, but I will go down. And my corner men will bring me back around. Bleed out. Oh, I'm gonna bleed out. The blood is pooling underneath me, flowing freely from my mouth. You want to call a medevac now? Knock yourself out, you can tell them when they get here. You tried, but the smallest wound was several inches wide. Bleed out. Oh, I'm gonna bleed out. I'm gonna head into the darkness. Oh, I'm gonna head into the light. I will surrender to that slow, lurching tide. I'm gonna drift off into the night. There won't be any words of wisdom from me. Just a lake of blood for the world to see. Bleed out. Bleed I'm gonna tell my friends to go to hell and wish my enemies well. Bleed out. Oh, I'm gonna bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. I'm gonna bleed out. If it's blood you want, I got plenty of it. Darling, you're gonna love it. I'm gonna bleed